was Ace betraying, was the betrayal with Ace and me. I would die for that guy. I'd take a bullet for that guy. And when I was told to go up his room one night, he was ossified, and he told me he was making so much more money than I was making on this whole to get together. I thought I was going to take a heart attack.
Let me ask you about that, because that's one of the things I
really did.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask you about in the book, because I found that really interesting. Because a lot of people, like I said, align you and Ace as this unit in a way, rightly or wrongly, that you guys are you have this interlocking bond. When I read that in the book, I looked at that, and I want to see how this worked, because in the beginning of that process for the reunion, you actually give him credit for saying that they right in front of everybody wanted to give you the least amount of money.
Absolutely.
And then you were walking away from it.
Absolutely.
For people who haven't read the book. And then Ace says, hold on, pulls you into a room, the two of you and your mutual manager, and says, we're going to cut his commission, that's going to go to you, and we're going to make the same money and go out in 96, and that's it. So in a way, at that point, Ace kind of saved the day, because you were ready to bail, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you make that arrangement for that tour. But why did you think that arrangement would be, because you would have to renew a contract for every subsequent tour, right? So you just assumed that would be the same deal going forward.
Yes.
And you felt the betrayal because it wasn't?
Well,
because let me just explain. There's something, as I'm sure you know, called favored nations. Have you heard that? Most favored nations?
Sure.
Something you haven't gotten a lot.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that.
So my question to you is, like, if you had counsel with you or whatever, and yet that first deal expired, and then they came to you and said, well, this deal isn't most favored nations, wouldn't that set an alarm off for you right then and there to say, whoa, something's fishy here?
Yeah, but we had the same lawyer. Talk about stupid. We had the same manager. Again, I trusted these two guys. I really did. I trusted Ace, because you're right, he did pull back me and say, we got to do this together. But again, as the train got faster and the money got bigger and the power got bigger, Ace got crazier. And Ace's choice of women was crazier. And he got crazier. And that's why, in a way, I realize now, even though that happened, that, yeah, he did come out at least and tell me. He wound up telling me.
Yeah,
my
that's
face.
Interesting for him to just. He just decided one day. Did you ask him, or he just offered that?
No,
to
he
you?
called my room.
So it was weighing on him, obviously.
Yeah, he called my room. His bodyguard, whoever, called my room and brought me up there. And he said, I just can't live with myself no more. I can't take this no more. I watch you every night smiling at me, hug me. You're always there for me. And I've been really making a lot more money, Catman, than you.
Wow, it must have really been on his. He felt he had he had to let it out. He was carrying it with him, it seemed like.
I don't know. We had 9 shows left in the tour. So for a long time, I don't think it was bothering him. But I guess he was carrying it. And between you and me now, knowing what addiction is, through my own addiction and my wife sobriety, that I really don't blame him in a respect, because it was the drugs that made him mad and crazy, and I know that to be true, because I was mad and crazy in my life. So I could almost forgive him, but I can't forgive the other two. They were right in their straight heads. They knew exactly the cunningness. They knew exactly where they were going. They couldn't have picked a better guy than Doc McGee to handle the band. I mean, talk about a gifted horse in the mouth. He gets the band when we're getting ready to do a reunion. It's like, to me, you were getting the Yankees, who already won the World Series for the next 2 years. That's not much dues to pay, like
right.
Bill Coyne did, rest his glorious soul. And I gave Bill and Sean and those guys credit where they didn't get in the other 2 books, that they deserved all 1,000,000%. And so, this would go on constantly day after day. And, when I found out that he was making so much more, I wouldn't do the last 9 shows. I was ready to pack it up. And they got real scared, and then they gave me what he was getting, supposedly, for that. And I could have swore it. I almost took a stroke walking back to my room.